Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for our Ladies Devotional. We're still in the journal of the top 100 women of the Bible. Today's lady is called Vashti. Her story is found in the first chapter of Esther, verses 10 through 12. So we're going to read from the Bible first. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mahaman, Biztha, Hobana, Bigtha, Abagtha, Zethra, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with a crown royal, to shew the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So let's find out through the journal what happened. Okay. Whew. Any modest woman can understand why Queen Vashti preferred not to appear before the king and his courtiers. They just enjoyed a 7-day drinking party, but refusing the king's wish was a dangerous act, for it made Xerxes look as if he had no control over his own wife, let alone his country. Instead of showing off his lovely queen, the king was made to feel small. And kings of large empires don't like feeling small, especially when their wives generate the feelings. Xerxes' counselors were immediately called. After a quick huddle, they gave their paranoid opinion. All the women in the kingdom, following the example of the queen, would soon refuse to obey the husbands. This had to be stopped immediately. Vashti should be stripped of her rank and never again be allowed to be seen or allowed to see the king. Well, honestly, if you think about what she had just went through, he had been on this 7-day drinking binge, I would say. She was not going to take a chance on going out there with all those men, which I don't blame her at all. But there were other plans that the great Lord above was providing through Vashti's refusal to come out. So let's see what else the journal says. Maybe this opinion reflected their own relationships with their wives more than the truth. Or maybe, as guests of the party, they've been whooping it up a bit too much and were at less than their wisest. But the king took their advice, and Vashti was no longer queen. The Bible doesn't tell us exactly why Vashti took this dangerous step. Perhaps she didn't want to be shown off at the party, or maybe she had another reason for not appearing. Whatever the cause, this action pushed her off her throne and out of history books, at least for a while. Because of Vashti's stand, Esther became queen, and the beautiful young Jew was in a position to save her people when Haman wanted to kill them. God used Vashti's disobedience to protect his own people, who were enslaved by this powerful ruler. Ironically, Vashti didn't entirely drop out of history. When her son Artaxerxes became king, she again held power as queen mother. God's power worked even in the life of this pagan queen. She lost her throne, and Esther saved her people. But in the end, justice came to Vashti too. God is in control of all our lives, even when that seems unlikely. When we face hopeless situations, when we seem to be punished for our faith, and when we suffer for no apparent reason, God has not deserted us. We may not see his purpose or justice until the end, but we can be certain he will prevail, just as he did for both Esther and Vashti. So that's a wonderful point for today's, even in that time in history and in today's time in history. With all of the stuff going on with the COVID-19, I know there's so many people, so many people that are suffering right now because they are depressed from, being at home by themselves, or by not being able to do the things that they really love to do, or maybe being at home with their children that they're, maybe they're used to working all day, being the woman of the house. Maybe they're used to working and the children being at school, and now they're not able to work and the children are home all day, and they're driving them absolutely crazy because they can't take them to the parks. They can't take them hardly anywhere. So they're home and they're trying to help them study and learn. And it's a whole lot of pressure that a lot of people are not equipped right now to handle because they haven't had to do that for quite a long time. So, as always, I think all that we truly have to do is turn to God and ask him for help. And he will be there. I promise you. He'll be there right in the perfect time that you're going to need him to be there. I remember times in my life, you guys, that I have not and I will not ever talk about, because it's things that I was going through that are a personal thing, and yet God seen me through all of it. At the time, I didn't know if it would happen. I truly didn't know if I would overcome those things. I truly didn't know if I would ever have peace in my mind again. But God seen fit to let that happen. And I'll tell you, there was times when I couldn't even pray. Times when I could not even think of the things to say to the Lord. And it was at those times that he understood. He listened to my heart. I didn't have to come up with this big fancy prayer, because he knew exactly what I needed, and he knew exactly what I was wanting to say to him. That's how great he is. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere for us. And I know at times, sometimes the devil will get in there and he'll put thoughts in our minds, and he'll make us feel like we're being overtaken by this world and all the scenarios that people are saying is going on right now. But the thing that we have to do is, in my opinion, is just calm down for a little bit. Go take some time for yourself, even if you have to go into the restroom by yourself. If you've got little children running around and you need a little bit of peace and quiet, wait till it's nap time for them and put them to bed, and you take a little bit of time for yourself. If you can't pray because you feel like you're overwhelmed and you just can't think of the right words, just take time to sit there and just let your mind wander and go. And it won't be long, and you'll feel like talking to the Father. And he'll always be there to listen. Or if you're by yourself and going through all this craziness that seems to be happening all over the world, you still, even though you're by yourself, I know that there's things that keep you busy, and they keep your mind busy, and they keep you worried, and it keeps you wondering. So try to get that worry and all that out of your mind. And maybe just, if you have a porch, go sit on the porch for a while and look at some of the beauty. I think the things that help me during all the times that I've been through is to try to find the good, try to find the beauty, and try to maybe do something to help others, because that to me works. Now, there might be different things that you need to do that's going to work for you. Sometimes even people can get us down and bring us down and maybe say things that kind of hurt our feelings a little bit. And maybe you're at home with a spouse and maybe you guys have, just like Steve and I, we are best friends, but sometimes best friends get on each other's nerves, right? So instead of saying something that you're going to regret or saying something that maybe is true, but it's just best not said. It's better sometimes to keep those words just hidden because it doesn't help anything and it just hurts things. So what we tend to do is we each try to tend to do our own thing for a little bit. Now today, both of us, we've been really, really blessed, and we've only had a few times of, especially when we're working on projects together, that just tends to happen. I guess I will try to tell him how to do something, and if he doesn't listen, I think that I'm right, you know? And I think to myself, well, it would have been a lot easier if you would have just done it the way I told you to, but I don't say those things. I might think them, but I try my best not to say them. Now, I used to, believe me, I used to in the past. But through the years and through things that we have went through, you know, as a couple, all of us do, you tend to learn that stuff isn't that important and just let it go. Shake it off and let it go. That's the best advice I can give you. 35 years of marriage has gotten better for us, and I think the reason is because we leave a lot of things to God, and we shake off when we would rather tell each other what we think, because it doesn't always help. It really doesn't. So sometimes you need to have a little bit of an argument, though, and there's nothing wrong in that if you keep it in a way where you're not calling each other names, you're not using foul language. So unless you have something good to say, don't say anything at all. And I just want to say, though, I really appreciate each and every single one of you that take the time to come over and watch this. Even if you don't watch any of my other videos throughout the week, you're taking the time to come and watch this little devotional, and we're learning together. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. This book's almost done, and I'm not really sure which other one I'm going to continue with. I'm thinking the one that Steve got in the mail from that company, but I'm not sure how that's going to work out yet. I seriously haven't sat down yet to take the time to go over all that, to find out, you know, what it's going to entail and how I'm going to be able to actually do it as like a journal type of thing or a devotional type of thing. But I still want to thank you guys for taking time out of your life to watch this. There's lots of time, there's lots of things to do in this busy, hectic world that we live in. And I appreciate you guys just, you know, like I said, turning on and watching my channel. And because of you guys, it is slowly growing. And I know that some of you have shared with your friends and sometimes family, and I deeply appreciate that. That's the only way I'm going to grow. Yeah, I'm not growing as fast as some of the other channels, and that started the same time as me, but you know what? It's all in God's timing, and I will just wait upon Him. If it never grows any more than what it is, then that's okay. And if it does, then that will be okay too. I will say that I have been monetized now for, I think, 6, 7 months, maybe 8 months, and I haven't gotten a check yet. On YouTube, for a month, you have to at least make $100 and to be able to get a check. And I have not ever made $100. It's not even all of the combined months together has not even made $100 yet. So when that happens, I'll be getting my first check, and it will be around $100. That's how they do things, and that's all right. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there for any of you guys that were wondering, that have been with me for a while. I know when I was just a viewer and I would watch all my favorite channels, I always wondered when they got monetized, how things worked. So I just thought I would throw that out there. But yeah, it'll happen. If it's going to happen, it'll happen in God's time, and I have nothing else to do but to wait on him, right? So I appreciate you guys, like I said, and I'll see you real soon. Have a great day and a great weekend if I don't talk to you before then. Bye-bye.